What's up, everybody? I'm on an impromptu trip to Honolulu, and I thought, like, why not call up Travis Grant? Travis Grant, I mean, if I have to introduce Travis here, then you definitely came to the sport too late. But Travis lately has been doing other things, but gosh, he had such a dominance back in the day and winning things. And let's just start right there, Travis. First and foremost, thank you so much for your time.
Worries,
He's actually
Good seeing you again.
Swinging by on the way to work, so super cool. Heck, you've been in Hawaii for 10 years, the sport's been around 10 years, and you had such great races and dominance. Let's talk about this for a second, your greatest memories from those days.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just talking, I think it's been more around 12 years. I was 2 years in Australia doing it, and all the races were in America, and I kept coming to, obviously, California, Battle of Paddle, and then Hawaii. Had some big ones. They had Battle of the Paddle, so it was enticing to come to America and race and show off. And obviously a canoe paddler, so it's not the reason we moved to Hawaii, but it was definitely a part of like all these stand-up and canoe races. So we moved to Hawaii 10 years ago, and I kind of chased the sport pretty hard while I was here, and basically until COVID. Sort of COVID for me was my let's have a break, and then I never really picked it back up again. I kind of took over. I'm still on a break.
You're still on a break, but but let's stay in the past for a moment. I mean, like, you've done the channel racings, the downwind. It was so exciting, everything, and you were in the midst of it, and you started to go on the world tour and all of that.
Stand up. Back in the past, it was obviously we were learning quick, so we're flat water racing, and then we're surf racing. And then, downwind obviously just evolving, and Hawaii is the mecca for that. And I mean, SIC definitely started with they were the only brand you could get, and they were in Hawaii. So, even myself, I'd come over here and borrow an SIC board, and then obviously sort of enticed, at NSP, we decided, let's make our own board, with a lane. So we started making our own unlimited boards to basically handle Molokai. We even called it Molokai. So for me, downwinding was sure my little niche, what I really liked, because it was it required a lot of skill, not as much fitness as, say, a flat water race. And then obviously living in Hawaii, I could train, and so I really chased the Molokai hard for those 5 years and had a lot of good results. I got first, second, something like that. I can't remember exactly.
What's standing out the most? What's, like, when you look back, like, that's the first thing that comes to mind?
For sure, Molokai.
Okay.
I mean, that's hands down it's the hardest race to train and prepare for, and then when you finish that line, you're like, wow, it's long enough where the memory lasts forever. Where those sprint races are good, but they're sort of short, right? So the memory's short as well. Mm-hmm. So the Molokai, I mean, you ask anyone, they'll be like, Molokai is probably the hardest and most memorable, because it is the hardest and most painful and logistically hard, and everything's hard about it.
I was just thinking, like definitely downwinding is good for ADD people like me, because it keeps your mind occupied rather than just doing draft trains.
True.
And then we had a lot of races here, but nevertheless, you started ending up traveling. You went with the Waterman League, it's now the APP Tour and all of that, and then the sport with the Euro Tour kind of started shifting already into Europe.
Well, actually, Europe started 10 years ago. It wasn't called the Euro Tour back then, but Connor, myself, Bellar, and then Bellar started really running with it. Mm-hmm. Was Parker there? I can't remember.
Yeah, he was.
We did the first unofficial Euro Tour. Like, went to Lane, myself, went to a few events in Europe, which then the next year they called it the Euro Tour after we sort of did a few events.
I remember that.
We were there to push the boards. NSP, we'd just done some NSP. So, and then Europe was a few years behind America and Australia. So, they were new at it, they were learning, and then obviously they've really taken hold of it. And they're now, they're the forefront of where it's at. It's definitely slowed down here in Hawaii and America and Australia. It's still around, the sport's still going. It's not growing like it used to, but in Europe it seems to me like it's just leaps and bounds. Huge
participation rates. We have festival style SUP races where they do like 2-3 day events with music, and now of course we have a new entity for the last let's say 3 years with the ICF.
Oh yes.
Of course the ICF is very active with that, but now you say COVID happened, all the races started, and then that was kind of a little bit of transition for you.
For me, I'm 40 years old now, and so I love paddling. I do a lot of canoe paddling too, so myself and Danny Ching sort of got into stand up from canoe, so we had a huge advantage over everyone at the start because we've been paddling, and then you just need to have good balance, and then it was fun evolving with the boards and watching them change. The boards now are all pretty similar. They're all narrower, like, you know, it's 14 foot long now. There's not much more you can do with design. Like, it's 14 foot long, that's it. You can only really go narrower, then you start sinking lower and it's too tippy. So, you know, the boards have nearly reached their limit. Unlimiteds didn't quite keep growing like maybe we thought they would, but again, they're longer, they're heavier. They don't really suit conditions what they're made for. So it's a downwind Hawaii or it's flat water. But so it's the sport's there. Obviously, foiling's now come about. I'm still canoe paddling here in Hawaii because a lot of people do, and obviously, like everyone, I'm into the foil and loving it.
Nice. And are you still, like you mentioned, the NSP, which by the way is a great supporter of the Stand Up magazine and an advertiser with us, so I'd like to thank for that. Are you still involved with any kind of an industrial part of development?
Yeah, we helped start the race brand. It was Dale Chapman back then and Elaine. Elaine's from France originally, and then Elaine's still designing boards for Tituan,
right?
and Ty, and he's still very involved. And no, he keeps me in the loop. I'm not as hands-on as I used to be, but at the same time, I was always just a rider. So my job as the rider wasn't to tell him how to design a board. It'd be like, gee, I'd love if the board could do this, or it feels like it's doing this, and I let him figure out how to make the board better. So I'm still involved. He still keeps me in the loop with what's going on. And like I said, like even I know like the changes now are so minor. You know, it sort of now depends on your weight nearly a little bit to what you can do or what kind of race you're doing. So the NSP's been they're giving me some foils and some wings, and so I've transitioned to a new, and they've got some new designs of all their products. So no, I'm still very involved. Very good company for me back then, and
nice race team right now. We have the Carolina Cup with Duna. We're recording this before the Carolina Cup. We're airing it after the Carolina Cup. But so NSP's done a lot, and you're still following the sport. You're looking who's who, what's going on.
Yeah, I mean APP. Tristan, I actually flew to Europe last year, Paris and Alicante to help commentate. So I'm not much of a commentator. Right.
I think I remember
with
that.
Matthew.
Now they didn't mention it.
And so there I was like, I mean, I know the guys. I'd love an excuse to go to Europe. So, I might, if your APP's needs or wants to has the budget to commentate, or I might come over and follow the APP a little bit more again. So that was fun. Obviously, Molokai is here. It's back on again in July. Not a huge stand-up turnout. Obviously, there's more foilers this year. I'll still follow that. I'll probably be out there on a boat somewhere watching foil and stand-up. And then, I mean, locally, there's not as many races as there used to be, you know? Yeah.
Well, very cool. It's always nice to see you and have you. And of course, if you continue to commentate or anything with the races, always good to have somebody with such a name and a knowledge and a history in it. So thank you so much, Travis.
Yeah, good seeing you, Mike.
All right, and we'll see you guys in the next video.